Morning, everybody. Yeah, it's still morning. Coming off the Indiana game, there was some growth. I use that term. I like the way we kind of dealt with some adversity. We didn't have. They missed a trip call. There's a flagrant foul. Before in different times, those have led to big runs. We kind of handled the crowd, and then I thought stayed very matter of fact with our game plan in the second half. And I thought we executed very well. I thought defensively, we just maintained and kept doing us. But all in all, pretty solid effort and pleased. Now we move to a team that is extremely efficient on the offensive end. They've got a lot of weapons. They've obviously got the size guys that can score the ball, and Ivy's turned into a guy that is in go mode. They're letting him play a lot more. They're giving him the ball. They're isolating him more. He's a guy that against Ohio State hits a game winner. So he's a very talented guy. Obviously, Sasha's been around for some time and really hurt us in the first game. They do a lot of things very, very well on the offensive end, and they're a handful. They're going to score points, and we've just got to try to make those as difficult as we can, and understand that they're going to hit some shots and not get discouraged with that, and come down and keep our poise and patience on the other end.
Seems like you'll have a better time tomorrow if Edey is not allowed to hit Kofi in the head. Have you had any assurances from the commissioner's office about improved officiating?
I'm not going to go assurances, but we're going to get good officiating, and we need obviously Kofi to be Kofi, and everybody to be on point. So we'll go to battle, and Kofi will be just fine.
I guess what I mean by that is when Ed Hightower came to observe things, did you feel that it was a satisfactory process? Yeah.
I think that whatever the commissioner has his role being right now, I think that we've got guys that are going to do a great job.
Thanks, Brad.
Brad, I want to ask you about Andre Curbelo, because it feels like this would have been a really difficult process, even coming back, playing 12 minutes the last couple of games. Seems like from our vantage point, he's been nothing but a great teammate. So how has he handled that process, and how does that help you as a coach?
Fabulous. I mean, incredible. We've had conversations. It's to say it's been easy for him. It's been anything but that. It's been extremely hard. It's been extremely frustrating. You don't, as an elite athlete performing at this level, you don't go 2+ months and do nothing. You don't lift weights, you don't walk on a treadmill, you don't do anything. And, so you have a certain level of physicality. All of our guys are gaining strength, and their maxes are higher during the season than they are out of the season. We lift every day. That affects conditioning at a really high level. He wasn't allowed to do anything, guys, for 2 months. And, now our games have happened so rapidly that, we're not, and it's February, we're not in full practice mode. So all his stuff, a lot of his stuff is being handled on his own in terms of with Fletch and conditioning and getting that back. We don't want to put him out there to be unsuccessful and have that hurt our team. He's been incredible. He's been engaged. He's been watching extra film. He's been putting in all the extra work, and trying as diligently as he can to not just be a great teammate, but to get back where he's he can play sustainable minutes. And the first Purdue game, the game played out different. And I played him a lot. He was exhausted, and he got through that. But then COVID sets in, and now it's another 9 days off, and it's been a trying process for him. But man, I've been really pleased with him as a teammate. He acts like another coach. And it's just a matter of him getting back and being able to perform for sustained periods of time.
What do you think keeps him from, some guys might get frustrated, might take it out some way. Like, what do you think keeps him from acting like that?
Winner. He is a winner. That kid is ultra competitive and wants to win. And you see that on the sidelines. You see that in practice. He's that guy in every drill. So, that motivates him.
Thanks, Brad.
Coach, what makes this Purdue team so difficult to guard without fouling? I mean, it was an issue in the game in Champaign with Kofi getting in foul trouble and Jaden Ivey getting to the line 15 times.
Well, he's the Ja Morant of college basketball. I mean, there's probably not an athlete in the country at his level. He's downhill a lot. He's and then you throw two big guys that are very, very talented in the post, and it's hard to keep them off the line. I thought there were some calls that we didn't get the first half in the first game, on him, where he just, but he got him. They were the aggressor. They're very aggressive offensively, but it's something you got to do is try to keep them, not commit senseless fouls.
What's different about Purdue than what you saw in Champaign, and what's different about your team right now?
Well, I think they're giving the ball to Jaden a lot more. Obviously, I think that they're at home. They shoot the ball better at home, almost to the man. But Ivey's playing in a lot more of just middle ball screens and letting him go and create and get in the paint. But they're who they are. They're exceptional in transition. That's a big key always when you go on the road, is trying to minimize that. That's easier said than done. We've got to get. I thought we got good looks, especially early in the game, and just didn't make many. But you can't commit silly mistakes, and we did that in the first game. And every mistake we made, they made a 3 on.
Thank you.
Hi, Brad. Ayo Dosunmu was just named to the NBA Rising Stars game. What do you think has been the key to his rapid development at the NBA level? Because, we saw he had a pretty fast learning curve when he was working under you in college. And I know you're very busy with your own season. You can't keep up with the NBA too much, but you also think he may have a chance at actually winning Rookie of the Year.
Sure. I don't ever discount Ayo from anything. And you don't, you're either born with or not, that competitive drive, and he has it, and that's been instilled. I think that, when you start looking, Billy's belief in him, his trust, and obviously Ayo's earned that. I look at DeMar DeRozan, as a guy who's taken Ayo under his wing. He's helped him. When that's your best player, and you're taking a rookie under your wing, I think a lot of things have fallen into place there. But Ayo's going to do Ayo. Ayo's going to work. Ayo's going to compete. I didn't doubt that there was any question he would find his way to the court. He's deserving of the honor, and literally is, I think 14 assists the other night. And, somewhere along the line, I took his jumping ability away, but now we're seeing him dunk on everybody. So, But he's just maturing. He's getting stronger. So I've always said Iowa's best basketball will be in his mid-20s because his body will just continue to mature and he'll continue to work and get better.
And it's pretty rare to have two former Illini on an NBA roster, but with Malcolm Hill on the team, I mean, I know he was gone before you took over the program, but are you kind of familiar with his game at all? And I mean, he's
absolutely.
One of the more
Malcolm's been around here a lot, and comes back in the off season, uses our facilities, and you're talking about an elite scorer. You're talking about a guy who's really transformed his body in the last 3 or 4 years as a pro. Now he's a guy that they have a lot of confidence in on the defensive side. He's a knock him down shooter, and very, very happy. It's pretty cool to have two Illini playing on our state team.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. You guys have won 13 of 15 on the road in the Big Ten, and you talked about this a little bit on Saturday after the Indiana game. Is there something that you do strategically to prepare the team before going on the road, whether that's fake crowd noise in practice or other things along those lines?
No, I don't think there's a one-day fix or a one-day prep to get them ready for the road. I think it's an everyday grind, and it's our saying, everyday guys, and you have to stress them. I try to do that in practice. I try to make them uncomfortable. I try to challenge them in different ways. If they can't handle me, they're sure not going to handle a hostile crowd or an opponent that's really talented and executing. So it's an everyday deal. It's not a one-time, sure, we may, pump in some music every now and then, but it's not consistent. We do it every day, and we want our practices to be harder than our games.
And then you said in your first 2 years, you think you won, I think, one Big Ten road game, and that might've been the game at Maryland at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if you're specifically referring to that one or not, but when you think back,
that was a neutral site.
So you're not referring to that one?
No, at Ohio State.
Oh yeah, that was the Iowa jumper from the three. Anyway, so you think back to the struggles that you had, and you talk about the long build to the success you had on the road now. Like, how hard was it to build to this success, or how exactly did you do it?
Well, there's no shortcuts to success, and I really believe that. And you have to hit the speed bumps. You have to identify what those are. You have to address those. We do that with being very, very honest, very critical of those situations, try to learn from them, and then demand a little more than even they think they can give and that they think they can do, because obviously when you're losing those games, it's not good enough. And so you've got to get them to a point where they believe, because of what they go through and how they do it and how hard it is to win. And so it's not easy. It's experience a lot of times. Nobody wants to hear about losing. Nobody wants to tolerate it. Yet it's as big a part of the growth to winning as there is. And you have to have that some of those experiences to know how to manufacture winning. And it just doesn't happen. And you have to grind on it. And freshmen have to learn. And the old cliche, best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores. Part of that reason is they've learned, they've got experience. And we went through all those speed bumps. And it's good players who have experience.
Brad, in the 50-minute game in Champaign, you were only able to go to Omar for 7 minutes. I know Ben had a really, really good 20 minutes, but if Purdue's going to still do that 20-minute timeshare with Edie and Williams, how important is it going to be to have an effective Omar for however many long you need him tomorrow night? Absolutely.
We're going to need them all. And, Omar can give us some things athletically with his length. He did a really good job on Williams in particular, challenged a couple shots. Ben is equally as important. with his strength. But we obviously don't want to play without Kofi for 30 plus minutes like we did in that 50-minute game. But again, those guys are vital and bit differently, but they can all be successful, and it's hard work. It doesn't take just them. It takes the guys entering the passes and doing everything else to negate those guys.
Thank you, Brad.
So take me through first.
Hey, Brad, I know you've talked about just the benefit of the age and experience of this team, but where does that show up maybe on a day-to-day basis? I mean, what's different in practice with a bunch of 23 and 24-year-olds?
I didn't get either one of those. There was two guys talking. I don't know who was.
Can you hear me now, Brad?
Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I got you.
Just you've talked about the benefit of having the age and experience on this team, but where does that show up on a day-to-day basis? Like what's different in practice with 23, 24-year-olds than maybe some of your younger teams?
Well, preparations is where it starts. And those guys get very solidified in their routines. We go through scouts a little bit quicker, a little easier with veterans. Sometimes with younger teams, you're hammering them home just to get 2 or 3 points across. You've got to go over and over it. With these guys, they've seen it. They know what's coming. They identify it. And we can move on. Yet there's a certain intensity level with which they do things that translates. I'm not having to coach necessarily effort every single day like I did for 2+ years. These guys have established that. And so those guys benefit, the benefit of those guys every day is both physical and mental.
You've got 4 fifth-year guys in your starting lineup right now. Is that the most experience you've ever had in that particular group?
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the one thing that we've been able to I was old at SFA a couple times, but we did it differently. We did it, with some junior college kids and that, but these are guys that have been around us and, they've got the experience of being in our program. Obviously Plum is new to that, but he's very cerebral, very smart. He's picked things up great. Even though Jake transferred, he's in year 3 with us. So it's been a real positive for us.
Brad, you said something along the lines on Saturday of not feeling the most comfortable when Jake isn't on the floor. What gives, I know you talked about him being California cool, but what gives you that confidence when he's out there?
Yeah, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's very, very assignment sound on both ends. You know exactly as a coach, there's tremendous trust with Jake. You know what you're getting. And, that's something that's, he doesn't ever get out of character. Very seldom does he get displaced from the moment of the game and get out of character. He's done it a couple times, but everybody does that. But for the most part, he's very much within himself.
And I know you guys don't like to, it doesn't appear to make any one game too big, but just given where you guys both are in the standings, given that first game in Champaign, is there anything more on this game?
Yeah, it'd be great if it was our last game. Unfortunately, we have 7 more that will have some outcome into, or 6 more. I don't even know what we've got, 7 or 8 more. But no, I mean, it's a big game. It's 2 really good teams. They beat us. They play great. We all know where we're at, but we've all got a lot of basketball left to play.
Thanks, Brad.
Brad, just looking at Big Ten games, your scoring margin doubles from the first half to the second half. What could you attribute that to? For most part, you're able to put away teams in the second half and not have close games.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. That's something we're aware of. I don't know what the the reason is for that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I do a bad job at the start of practice and getting our guys going. And so it affects us in games. I don't know. I think we're, maybe we get a better feel for the other team. It could be a variety of things, but obviously in most games loosen up a little bit in the second half. But we better not start flat in this one or you're in trouble.
Well, I perhaps you see it that way. I wasn't necessarily implying you were starting flat. Just wondering if you feel like things are just at a different level when it comes to the second half.
No, I don't feel that. I think sometimes, we get, we figure out how teams scheme us, what they're doing. Most teams have done something different than they've done against us in the first time. So it takes us a little bit, you prepare for one thing and you see a little bit different. But that's, we make the adjustments at halftime and we're good. But no real explanation for it.
Thank you.
Brad, coach after playing your team says you have to pick your poison when you play Illinois. Is there a similar thought against Purdue, or is it stop Ivy? Is it double team the post? Is it watch Sasha? I mean, what's kind of the pick your poison when you defend Purdue?
You want to keep going? Keep them off the glass. Yeah, that's why they're good. That's why that they're. I think there's simplistic things that you try to do, whether you can do them or not. You don't want to do it. You can't beat yourself against Purdue. They will make you pay. We made mistakes, in transition. We made a couple of mistakes trying to gamble, and it put us in harm's way, where they made a three. It's the little things. We didn't block out. They kick it out for a three. It's those things. When teams are really, really good, it's not, you're not going to take away everything they do. You're just not. And I think that's one of the things teams face with us. But you can't beat yourself and lose 50-50 balls and lose offensive rebounds and not block out on a free throw. And, those are all the things that come back to haunt you in a game with two really good teams. So we got to be rock solid there and know that we just have to make everything as difficult as we can.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, I know that Trent has been an instant off night for most guys that he's checked. Sasha's maybe been one of the few where that wasn't the case a couple of weeks ago. Was there anything you saw in that matchup that led to his success and any maybe extra motivation for Trent to correct that one?
Yeah, we made some mistakes, and it wasn't just, with Trent on him. It was quite the opposite. He hit a couple threes. He hit one in front of their bench in the second half. That was really, really deep. I think caught Trent off guard, but most of the rest of his threes weren't on him. You just can't fall asleep. You can't give Sasha 22 points. You've got to make him hard. He made shots at a very high level. And I thought that that was one of the more disappointing things about that game was we let him and he's a really good player. He's really hard to guard. I thought that we gave him too many uncontested. We had one play where we tried to gamble for a steal in the backcourt off a rebound and ran ourselves out of a play. He hits an uncontested three. Those are the plays you can't make against them. They make you pay. He plays in the trailer spot a lot, where he's one of the last ones down the floor. You've got to find him in transition. When Ivy drives, and then we just weren't very solid on him.
Thanks.
Coach, last time out, you guys shot quite a few threes, 33 threes. Is there an optimal number of three-pointers that you like to see, or is that just more of a flow of the game kind of thing?
Depends how many we're making. And that's very honest. If we're getting good shots, it's one of the things that the other night at Indiana. I mean, Plummer got 2 wide open looks in the corner. Jake missed one. Luke Goody missed one. Those are great shots for us. If they're good shots, I want to shoot the ball, and I don't get as concerned about the number as I do the quality of the shot and the balance. And it's the possessions of the game were up in that game. It was a double overtime game. I by tendency don't like to shoot as many on the road, but we also played 30 minutes in that game without Kofi, so that had some impact on that as well.
Hey, Brad, if I could get one more about Jake. When did he, do you remember, I guess, about when that trust was built with you, that you had this confidence? I'm assuming probably at some point last year, but how did he kind of go about doing that, and roughly when did that come to be?
Yeah, it was kind of mid-season last year. I didn't play him a lot first semester. And, he just kind of kept plugging away and doing his deal and never complained. And all of a sudden he becomes really solid and sound. He kind of kicked the rust off his sit out year, and was back into flow. And he was doing a lot of little things that I remember thinking at the time and watching film. He's doing a lot of little things that were really important: cutting, rebounding, passing, let alone making shots. So it was a lot of little things, but I think it was mid-year last year that I felt like, okay, this guy's really going to help us be a good player.
Thank you.
All right, that will wrap us up with Coach. Stand by. I'll have Jake on here.